Nama Shreshtam Manamapi Sachiputram Atra Surupam Rupam Tasyagrajamuri Purim Maturim Goshtuvatim Radha Kunda Magirivaram Oh Radhika Madhuvasam Prapto Yasya Pratita Kripaya Shri Guru Tam Natosmi Gurave Gaurachandraya Radhikaya Tadale Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tad Bhaktaya Namo Namaha Anandalilamaya Vigrahaya Hemabhadibhyatschave Sundaraya Tasmai Maha Prema Rasa Pradaya Chaitanya Chandraya Namo Namaste Chaitanya Chandraya Namo Namaste Chaitanya Chandraya Namo Namaste Sham Sundar Shikandasika Smaraha Samurali Manohara Radhika Rasika Mama Kripanidhe Sopriya Charana King Karim Kuru Tavai Vasmi Na Jivami Tayabana Iti Vikyaya Devi Tam Nama Charanantikam. First of all, I offer my Sastang Dandavat Puspanjali, my heart like flowers, thousands of times at the lotus feet of my holy master, my supremely worshipable spiritual Gurudev, Asmadhya Paramaradhatama Guru Pada Padma, Nitya Leela Pravishta Om Vishnupad, Ashtotara Sata Shishimad, Rupa Nuga Acharya Varya, Srila Bhakti Vedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj. Secondly, I offer my pranam thousands of times at the lotus feet of my Param Gurudev to Srila Prabhupada and to all of our Sri Rupanuga Gaudiya Guru Parampara. And finally, I offer my pranam to all the assembled Vaishnavas and Vaishnavis around the world. Vancha kalpatarubhascha kripa sindhubhyavacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. So by the causeless mercy of Sri Guru and Gauranga, today we want to take this opportunity to discuss Sri Guru-Tattva. In our spiritual life, there are many important tattvas with which we must familiarize ourselves and gradually realize, such as Jiva Tattva, the reality of the nature of the soul, Maya Tattva, the reality of the nature of the illusory material world, Krishna Tattva, the nature of Swayam Bhagavan's, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna Chandra, Brajandanandan, Shama Sundar, Bhakti Tattva, Leela Tattva, Rasa Tattva, so many tattvas. But of all the various tattvas, the first and foremost tattva is Guru-Tattva, the principle of Sri Guru. This is most important because if one doesn't understand the Guru-Tattva, the principle of Guru, then one will never come to realize all the other tattvas. And conversely, if a person will understand and realize Sri Guru-Tattva, the principle of the spiritual master, then the door is open to realize all the other profound tattvas. The word Gu means andhakar, darkness. That darkness is samsaric asakti, deep attachment to this material world, the temporary place which is not the home of the soul, wherein, even though it seems to be comfortable or safe or secure, there is in fact no safety or security anywhere. Everything disappears in a few moments like a dream. There's no an ashray, there's no shelter in the physical plane. Yet, still, the material mind remains very attached. And that attachment, samsaric asakti, to the body, to the family members, to one's home, wealth, and pets, and one's city or country, nation, planet, etc. That samsaric asakti, that is andhakar, darkness, indicated by the syllable gu. The syllable ru indicates nivritti, the removal. In other words, guru is that person who removes the darkness of attachment to the material world by introducing the Prem Pradeep, the torchlight of love for Sri Krishna. That person is called Guru. In Srimad Bhagavatam, it has been said, Nrideyam adyam sulabam sudurlabam plavam sukalpam guru karnadharam mayanukulyena nabashvaveritam humam bhavabdim nataretsa atmaha. The meaning is that this human form of life, taking birth as a human being, is sudurlabh, extremely rare. Out of millions of species, the human form is very rare, and the opportunity to take birth in that human form is very rare. But this form is extremely valuable. Why? Plavam sukalpam. It's like a boat. The human body is a boat that is made for attaining a particular destination. So if you want to go somewhere by boat, but you have no experience in sailing, then it is essential to have a captain. So plavam sukalpam guru karnadharam. The word karnadhara means a captain of a boat, and it also means karna means ear, and dhara means one who holds the ear. Just as a child is misbehaving or they're going in the wrong direction, so the parent can effectively catch them by the ear and tweak their ear and steer them, bring them in the right way. So similarly, Guru is called Karnadhara, who affectionately sometimes may chastise us, correct us, and especially who leads us in the right direction. That is called Guru, Karnadhara. So the spiritual master is the captain of the ship of this human body. And Mayanu Kulyena Nabashvaveritam, the mercy of Krishna is a favorable wind that causes the boat to move. And the spiritual master teaches us how to practice our sadhana. Performing the daily hearing, chanting, remembering, and service. It's like hoisting the sail on the ship. If you have a ship but you don't raise the sail, then if the wind is blowing, the ship will not move. And also if you raise the sail but the wind does not blow, also the ship will not move. But if you will raise the sail and the wind will blow, then the ship will go to its destination. So in the same way, our sadhana cannot make us advance, actually. Our sadhana is only like raising the sail. But when we perform daily sadhana under the guidance of the spiritual master, then the mercy of Krishna comes and fills our sail, and the boat of this human body gradually begins to move across the ocean of material existence to reach to the other side, to the shore of the Jamuna river in Goloka Vrindavan. So, Pumam Bhavabdhim Nataretsa Atmaha, a person who has received the human form of life but doesn't take advantage of the shelter and guidance of Guru, then that person is considered to be Atmaha, having suicidal tendencies. They're actually killing themselves. So we don't want to be like this. We want to make the best use of this human form of life. Who is Guru? You know that Vadanti tat tattva vidas tattvam yad jnanam advayam Brahmeti Paramatmeti Bhagavan iti Shabdyate. Those who are the knowers of the truth, they say that it is the non-dual conscious reality. And they refer to that non-dual conscious reality by the words Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan. Actually, there is only Bhagavan. He is supreme, and the others are partial experiences of that supreme truth of Bhagavan Sri Krishna. Now, Bhagavan Sri Krishna, the supreme personality of Godhead, he is the Advaya Gyan Paratattva, non-dual reality. That means, because he is the Advaya Tattva, non-dual reality, that there's no difference, there's no duality between Sri Krishna and his name, between Sri Krishna and his form, between Sri Krishna and his astonishing divine attributes, between Sri Krishna and his associates, and his holy dham, his lila. They're all one transcendental, indivisible, non-dual reality. So, Sri Guru is an associate of Sri Krishna. He is a part of that non-dual reality. So even though being in this world of duality, it is impossible for us to experience what is that non-dual plane. But still, one aspect of that indivisible plane of non-duality, that is an associate of Sri Krishna, Sri Guru, makes his appearance here in this physical world to guide us. Therefore, when Sri Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami was describing Guru-Tattva, he said, Krishna Guru Bhakta Shakti Avatar Prakash, Krishna Shakti Echai Rupe Karena Vilas. The Supreme Lord Sri Krishna appears in 6 features. That means Krishna himself, Guru, the devotees, the Vaishnavas, his Shaktis, such as the Gopis or Gadada Pandit, his avatars like Dvaita Acharya, and his Prakash, his expansions like Nityananda Prabhu. So these are the 6 features of the one absolute truth which are always playing. So Sri Guru, he is the manifestation of Krishna. Srila Krishna Das Kaviraj Goswami Padi said, Yadyapi Amara Guru Chaitanya Das Tatapi Janiya Ami Tahara Prakash. Although I know that my Gurudev is a Das, he's a servant of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. At the same time, I see him as Prakash, a full manifestation of the Supreme Lord. So, the disciple should have both visions towards the spiritual master. On the one hand, he is the topmost Vaishnava, Mahanta. And on the other hand, it is a special form of Sri Krishna himself, Sakshat Ritvena Samasta Shastre, that Sri Krishna has assumed in order to give mercy to the devotees. Guru Krishna Rupa Heya Shastra Pramane Guru Rupe Krishna Kripa Karen Bhakta Gane. According to Shastra, Shri Guru Krishna Rup, he's a form of Sri Krishna. Guru Rupe Krishna Kripa Karen Bhakta Gane. Guru is the form in which Krishna delivers Kripa to all the devotees. So when Sri Guru is worshipped, then that celebration is called Vyasa Puja, the worship of Vyasadeva, because the Sri Guru is a representative of Srila Vyasadeva. Srila Vyasadeva is an extraordinary personality because he is the Supreme Lord himself. And he has appeared in the form of a great devotee to present, to organize, to manifest, to divide the Vedas and disseminate Vedic knowledge throughout the world. And especially, he has the pastime of, by the blessing of his Gurudev Narad Muni, realizing Braja Rasa, the topmost confidential nectar of the loving pastimes of Radha and Krishna and the gopis of Vrindavan. And he manifests that realization. Through him, that realization is manifest in the form of the eternal Rasa Shastra, Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavata. So, Srila Vyasadeva, he realized this transcendental realm, and then he expressed it in the form of the manifestation of Srimad Bhagavatam. The meaning is that the scholarship being learned in logic and Purva Mimamsa and Yoga Shastra and Sanskrit and old Vedangas, these things are actually not the qualification of Shri Guru. The qualification of Shri Guru is realization of Krishna. Kiba Vipa, Kiba Nyasi Sudha Keninoi, Ye Krishna Tattvaveta Se Guru Hoy. Whether one is a Brahmin, a sannyasi, a Sudra even, whatever status of life a person is in, if a person has the realization, transcendental anubhav of the beauty, qualities and pastimes of Sri Krishna, of the eternal service of Krishna, then only that person is really Guru. So in Srimad Bhagavatam, there it is said, Shabda Brahmani Nishnato Na Nishnayat Pareyadi Sramastasya Sramapalo Hyadenam Iva Rakshataha. That Shabda Brahmani Nishnato, a person may be very expert in the knowledge of the scriptures, but Na Nishnayat Pareyadi. But if they don't have realization of the transcendental world, then all that person's study was a waste of time. It was just hard work without any fruit, without any reward. Just as Hyadenam Iva Rakshataha, just as a person may work very hard to maintain and take care of a cow who gives no milk. So, Sri Guru is worshipped as the representative of Srila Vyasadeva. So I want to spend a few moments to discuss the identity of Srila Vyasadeva and why he came to this world. In ancient times, there was a rishi named Gautam Rishi, and he was doing very austere penances in the Dandakaranya forest. So after doing austerities for a long time, Lord Brahma became pleased with him, and he gave him some mystical seeds that could produce crops immediately and again without any limitation. So then Gautam Rishi, he took these seeds from Lord Brahma and he went to a Saptashringa mountain and he made his hermitage there. And so then Gautam Rishi began to sow the seeds in the ground, and he was pleasantly surprised when he saw that at once the rice grain was sprouting up just within a few moments. So Gautam Rishi, he was living there happily with his disciples. And gradually as time went on, the whole country was afflicted by a famine. And everywhere people were starving. There were just terrible food shortages. But Gautam Rishi and his disciples, they were fine. They had no problem because they had these mystical seeds that had been given by Lord Brahma. After some time, some rishis, some sages who were traveling here and there, they arrived at the ashram of Gautam Rishi. And Gautam Rishi, he honored them, he treated them with great respect. And he welcomed them and they stayed with him, and he could feed them sumptuously. And they stayed there with him until the famine was over. So then when the famine was over, those sages, they decided that they wanted to go back to their ashrams. So before leaving, they came to Gautam Rishi with folded hands and they requested permission. Please, now we want to go. Please bless us that we can go. But Gautam Rishi, he requested them, no, oh, you please, this is the hospitality, Vedic hospitality. No, you must stay a few more days, stay a few more days. So then the sages agreed and they stayed for some time. Again they asked him, but again and again, Gautam Rishi was insisting that all the rishis, they should stay in his ashram and not leave. So in the end, they conferred amongst themselves and they decided, all right, we have to escape from here by using some deception. So they had some mystic power, and by mystic power, they created an illusory cow. And they kept that cow near the ashram of Gautam Rishi. So one day when Gautam Rishi was going out from the ashram, he saw that beautiful cow and he was very pleased. And he began to glorify that cow, and he took some water from his water pot and he was sprinkling water on it. But the moment he sprinkled the water on the cow, then that cow immediately fell over and died. And when the cow fell to the ground, then all those sages ran there at once and they said, oh, look what he's done. He's killed an innocent cow. We can never stay in a place where there is a person who kills cows. Let's leave here at once. So then they're about to go. But Gautam Rishi, he begged them. He said, please, tell me how I can become free from this heinous sin of killing a cow. So then the sages said to him, the cow will come alive again, and you can be free from all sin if you sprinkle the water of the Ganga on the cow. So at that time, the Ganga had not come down to earth. So Gautam Rishi, he sat down in meditation and he did very intense penance to please Lord Shiva. So then, after some time, Lord Shiva Mahadev appeared before him, and Gautam Rishi said, can you give me one of your jata, one of your matted locks of hair? So then Lord Shiva gave him one of his locks. So as you know, the Ganga is always in the hair of Lord Shiva. So then Gautam Rishi, he took that lock of hair and then he sprinkled it onto the cow. And the moment that he sprinkled the water onto where the cow's body was lying, then that illusory cow just disappeared. So there and then, the famous 7 sages, they appeared there and they gave blessings to Gautam Rishi. But Gautam Rishi, by his penance, in his mind, he had a realization. And that realization is, oh, those sages who were staying in my ashram, they played a trick on me. They played a wicked prank upon me. So I'll give them a curse. So then Gautam Rishi pronounced his curse. He said, I curse that these brahmanas, they will all become bereft of knowledge of the Vedas, and they will not be qualified to perform Vedic rituals. So gradually, the power of the curse of Gautam Rishi became true. So it's described in the Skanda Purana that the Vedic knowledge that was established by Lord Narayan in Satyayug, it remains strong in Satyayug, it remains strong in Tretayug, and also in most of Dwarpayug. But then, due to the curse of Gautam Rishi, the Vedic knowledge amongst the Brahmanas began to fade, and it was becoming lost. So, without Vedic knowledge in this world, then everyone in the world is completely lost, and there's no purpose to the world at all. So Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva and other devatas, they were perplexed about what to do. So for this reason, they all approached Lord Narayan and they prayed to him, please consider, deliberate, and formulate a way to solve this problem, namely the disappearance of knowledge, Vedic knowledge from the world. So then, on the request of Brahma and Shiva and all the devatas, then Lord Narayan himself, he made up his mind that he would appear in this world as the son of Parasha Rishi from the womb of the fisherman's daughter Satyavati, and he will recover the lost Vedic knowledge and through his disciples establish it once again in the world very strongly. So, even though Lord Narayan, he is the Vishay Vigraha, he's the object of service, but the Vishay Vigraha, Lord Narayan, is appearing in this world as Vyasadeva, as Ashray Vigraha, as a guru, as the embodiment of the shelter for all living beings. And he's Vyasadeva himself is performing puja of his own Gurudev, Narad, by manifesting Srimad Bhagavatam. Srila Vyasadev's disciple Madhvacharya is doing the Vyasa Puja of his Guru Srila Vyasadeva by writing his commentary on Bhagavad Gita. In this way, our Srila Rupa Goswami is performing the Vyasa Puja of Nityananda Prabhu and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu by writing Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu and Ujjwal Nilamani and so on. So in this way, we learn that Vyasa Puja means one, worship of the representative of Vyas, that person who is in this world manifesting, protecting, disseminating the Vedic knowledge. And that is Vyasa. And puja is not only the formal worship which is performed with the paraphernalia of arti, with the Sodas Upachar, with 16 articles of worship, but rather the puja is to serve our Gurudev in such a way that by his blessing, then his transcendental knowledge, his anubhav, his realization may overflow from his heart into our hearts. And then we may express that and share that with all the people of the world. That's a katha, that's Nam Sankirtan, spreading throughout the world. Yari deka tahi kaha Krishna Upadesh, Amara aga Guru Hayatare Desh. This is Vyasa Puja. Whomever you meet, wherever you go, you just speak to them and tell them about Sri Krishna and the teachings of Sri Krishna, about Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam. This is really the Vyasa Puja. So, Srila Vyasadeva, throughout his writings, he has given many, many examples of Sadguru, qualified Guru, and Satsishya, qualified disciples, and the process by which the divine knowledge comes from the heart of the spiritual master to the heart of the Satsishya, the qualified disciple. And also he's given many examples of the wrong way, the incorrect way of trying to attain transcendental knowledge. The fact is, there is no easy way, there is no way outside of the complete dedication of body, mind, and words, niskapat, niswarta, guru seva. That means from the heart, the full surrender without any duplicity or without any selfishness at the lotus feet of the spiritual master. In this way, one may receive transcendental knowledge. Otherwise, then all the nectar of the scriptures, it remains like honey in a pot, and the so-called disciple remains like a bee trying to lick the outside of the jar. So I want to today describe one very wonderful pastime that Srila Vyasadeva himself has written about in order to illustrate what is the correct way to receive transcendental knowledge and also the incorrect way to receive transcendental knowledge. So, once upon a time, there were two great rishis. Their names were Bharadwaj. You may remember just recently in Navadvip Dham, just in front of the Yoga Pit there's the famous place Bharadwaj Tila, where the great Maharshi Bharadwaj Rishi was doing his sadhana. So this is a history about him. So Bharadwaj had a very close friend, his best friend. His name was Raivya Maharshi. And these two rishis they used to live together in the forest. They used to wake up very early before sunrise every morning, take bath, remember their Gayatri mantras, perform their sacrifices and their intense study, their Veda Adhyayan, study of the Vedas. And they used to do these things together. And from this, they experienced great joy in each other's company. So gradually, after some time, they had sons. So Raivya Maharshi, he had two sons. Their names were Arvavasu and Paravasu. And Bharadwaj, he had one son. His name was Yavakri. So Raivya, he spent a lot of time with his two sons, teaching them the Vedas and educating them in such a way that very soon they became expert in Vedic knowledge. But the Bharadwaj Rishi, he was always absorbed doing his dhyan on Parabrahma, meditating on the ultimate truth. So he didn't take any time out to give education to his son, Yavakri. So gradually, what happened, the two sons of Raivya, Arvavasu and Paravasu, because they became so learned, they began to travel here and there, and everywhere they went, everyone was bowing down to them, everyone was respecting them, their fame was spreading everywhere. But the son of Bharadwaj, Yavakri, he was seeing how they were becoming so successful in his life, and he was feeling to himself, oh, I'm left out. What can I do? Everyone's respecting them, and he became overwhelmed with sorrow. He became very aggrieved. So then he was thinking, okay, I also want to have knowledge. Not only knowledge like them, I want to have more knowledge than them. I want to have more knowledge than any Brahmana in the whole world. And I'll get it by performing tapasya, austerities. So he made a ring of fire, and he was doing meditation within a ring of fire in the hot weather. He was doing such extreme austerities that Indra became somewhat concerned. You know, Indra is always concerned if someone does very intense austerities, because perhaps they may take over his position in heaven. So Indra was disturbed, and he appeared before that Yavakri, and he said to him, "Oh sage, you're performing such very severe austerities. For what reason are you doing this?" So then Yavakri, he said, "Oh Devendra, Devaraj Indra, king of the demigods, you who are honored by all the heavenly beings, I am practicing austerities because I want to get such knowledge of the Vedas that has never been acquired by any Brahmin before. I want that to manifest to me and also to my father as well. So this is why I'm doing these very hard austerities." So then Indra said to him, "Oh Brahman, you're going about this in the wrong way. Why are you trying to get the transcendental knowledge of the Vedas in this way? Only by this you'll destroy yourself. You know, you should go and learn from Mukharavind, from the lotus lips of the spiritual master. This is the way to acquire the transcendental knowledge." So then the Indra went away. But when Indra went away, then that Yavakri, he began to do even more austerities, more intensely than ever before. So then the Indra, he thought, how can I persuade him? I'll try to do the hitabodh. Hitabodh means awaken in him some sense of what is for his benefit, what's beneficial in his life. But this Yavakri, he was a very stubborn person, and he was not, he didn't want to hear. So then Indra came to him and again instructed him. But Yavakri said, look, if you don't bless me with what I want, then I'm going to do even more austerities. Even I'll cut off my limbs one by one and I'll offer them into the sacrificial fire. So then Indra, he was feeling somewhat frustrated, and he thought, how can I try to persuade him about the futility of his endeavor? So Indra knew that this Yavakri, he used to go to the river, the Bhagirathi, one strand of the Ganga, every day to take bath. So Indra himself, he took the disguise of an old Brahmin, about 100 years old, and he was standing on the bank of the river, and he was putting his hand down, taking a palmful of sand, and then throwing that palmful of sand into the river. So then, after some time, Yavakri, he came there, and he was to take his bath and remember his Gayatri mantras. And he said to that old Brahmin, "Oh Prabhu, why are you throwing the handfuls of sand into the Ganga?" So then that old Brahmin said, I thought that, it's very difficult for the local people to cross the Ganges here. But if I build a dam here, then there'll be a big reservoir of water and all the people will be able to cross the Ganges in this dam. So then the Yavakri, he said to that old Brahmin, "Oh, this is... do you think that in your lifetime you'll be able to achieve this task of damming the Ganges by throwing in a palmful of sand?" And then that old Brahmin said, "Oh, so do you think that in your lifetime by performing austerities you'll be able to get the realization and the knowledge of the Vedas?" So then Yavakri understood, oh, this old Brahmin, he's not just an old Brahmin, but it's actually Indra, and he's come in this form to try to dissuade me from the project of my life, to become very great learned sage, more learned and famous than any others. So then he did not want to heed the words of Indra, and so he begged him again and again, "I will do more and more austerities. I will never stop until you bless me." So Indra tried to persuade him, but he wouldn't listen. So in the end, Indra, he said that, "Then I give you a blessing that you and your father will know all the Vedas." And Indra blessed him, and then that Yavakri, he was very happy, and he returned to the ashram of Raivya Muni. So then, when he returned, he told his father, "Oh, my austerities became mature, and Indra came to me, and he gave me a blessing that I would know all the Vedas, and you will also know all the Vedas." So then, his father, actually, he wasn't pleased, because Raivya Muni understood that he'd received this knowledge, not really a divine transcendental realization, but a theoretical knowledge, a memory and expertise in different aspects of the Vedas. And he'd received that through the wrong way, not through the correct process of Guru Seva. So then his father was thinking, oh, these young men who do hard austerities, they can learn so much, but their heart don't become pure. They remain arrogant. And then by this arrogance, they become offensive, and gradually they will fall down into the ocean of material existence. So then Raivya, he said to his son Yavakri, look, okay, what you have done, but you should be very, very carefully, because now you have acquired knowledge, but you are not mature, and you can very easily make offense, and by this you will perish. So don't be, many persons have been like this in the past. Don't be like one of them. So I'm requesting you one thing. Don't go to the ashram of Bharadraj Rishi. It's a very beautiful place, but don't go there. His two sons also are very learned, but also don't go there. Why? Because he was thinking that his son now being puffed up, if he will go there, then what may he do? He may try to express his learning. He may try to get into a debate to prove himself, to assert his own importance in the presence of senior personalities. So he didn't want this to happen. And he also knew that Raivya Maharshi can, sometimes if he's disturbed, he can be quite irascible. He can get quite angry. And that would be very, very dangerous. So in this way, Bharadwaj Rishi instructed his son Yavakri, just be careful, don't quarrel with anyone, don't become proud, don't criticize anyone, and especially don't go to the ashram of Raivya Maharshi and his sons. So then he said, oh my father, don't entertain even the slightest anxiety about me. Just as I respect you, I also respect Raivya Muni. And then after speaking these sweet words to his father, then Yavakri began to wander here and there, and he'd become quite arrogant. He had no fear of anything or anyone, and he began to take delight in trying to expose the weaknesses or the lacks, the gaps in the knowledge of others, and making offense to the other munis, other sages. Now his life was going into a very dangerous situation. So as he was enjoying himself, minimizing others, one day it happened that he transgressed the instruction of his father, and he approached the ashram of Raivya Maharshi. So that place is a very beautiful, the flowers of various seasons are blossoming there at the same time, the birds are singing. And when he arrived there, he saw the daughter-in-law of Raivya. Her name was Vishaka, that is the wife of Parvavasu. And she was wandering there. She was very beautiful, like a Kinara woman, like a heavenly damsel. And when he saw that beautiful woman, then even though he had so much knowledge, or theoretical knowledge, but his mind and his senses were not under control. And he shamelessly approached her and said, oh, yeah, you should come with me, and we shall unite. So then that young girl, she was afraid because she knew that he was very powerful. So she agreed. And in this way, more or less by coercion, by force, he enjoyed with the daughter-in-law of Raivya Rishi. And then he went away. So then after he went away, the Raivya Rishi, he came back and he saw Paravasu's wife sitting there, and she was crying. She was in tears. So he was consoling her, speaking sweet words, and said, why are you so upset? Please tell me. She was very ashamed and she was afraid to speak. But he melted her heart with his kindness, and then she felt comfortable. And she said how Yavakri had come there and more or less by force united with her. So when Raivya Rishi heard this, he became incensed. He became overwhelmed with a blazing fire of anger. So at that moment, he, as the rishis tend to do, you know Durvasa Rishi, when he wants to give a curse, then he tears off one of his jata, because a lot of the Shakti from his yoga sadhana is stored there. So he pulled off one of his jatas, his matted locks of hair, and he chanted a mantra, and Swaha, he offered his jata into the sacrificial fire. And there, from the sacrificial fire, manifested a very beautiful woman, exactly the same as his daughter-in-law, looking exactly like his daughter-in-law, to whom Yavakri was so attracted. And then he pulled out another jata. And then with mantra swaha, he offered that jata into the fire. And this time, a fiery Rakshasa, a demon, came out from the fire with a trishul, with a trident in his hands. And now the two of them, they stood before Raiva Rishi with folded hands. And they said, Kim Karomi, what can I do for you? So then the Raiva Rishi said, go and kill Yavakri. And they said, we shall do as you bid us. And the two of them went away. So they approached first that female who looked just like the daughter-in-law of Radha Muni, approached him. And so because he was very attracted to her, he didn't feel any threat, he didn't feel any suspicion. And the reason she came first was because Yavakri was carrying with him his water pot. And by this water pot, he could sprinkle and he could give curses and so on. He could protect himself from the Rakshasa. So first the form of the beautiful woman came and she stole his kamandalu, his sacred water pot. And then the Rakshasa came with his trishul and came to stab him. So the Yavakri was running here and there. He was trying to find a place. He couldn't find shelter anywhere. So then he ran to the room where his father performs fire sacrifices. So his father wasn't there at the time, but he used to keep a Sudra sitting at the door who was blind, and he would prevent anyone from entering. So when Yavakri was running there, he was about to go into the room, but that blind Shudra caught hold of him and wouldn't let him in. And just then that Rakshasa, that fiery demon with the Trishul, arrived there, and with his trident he killed Yavakri, and Yavakri fell to the floor dead. So then after that, then that fiery demon went back to Raiva Muni along with that female he'd created from his other jata, and they were happy, and Raiva Muni was happy that they had fulfilled their mission. And then the two of them, the Rakshasa and that illusory form of his daughter-in-law, happily lived together. So then, just after that, Bharadwaj Rishi returned to his ashram after performing his ablutions at the river and collecting the wood for his fire. And there, when he got back, he saw the atmosphere was so dark, and his guard was not happy when he heard, because not to see him because he was blind, but he was not happy when he heard that his master was returning, and the flames of the sacrificial fire were not dancing upon seeing him, and he was wondering, what's wrong? There's a strange atmosphere. And in his mind he had an inspiration. Oh, is it that my son went to the ashram of Raiva Rishi? I told him not to do that. That would be a great disaster. And so then he spoke with the Sudra, and the Sudra pointed out to him, oh, this is your son lying here. And when Raiva Rishi saw his son lying dead on the ground, then he was so overwhelmed with grief because he was so attached to his son. And even though his son was at fault, but still, when you have attachment for a person, then it makes you become blind to their faults. So he began to lament, oh, my son, you did all your austerities to get this great knowledge of the Vedas that even other Brahmanas didn't have. You did that for the benefit of the Brahmin community, and that you would share that knowledge with everyone. So you were such a good person. But now what has happened? Because you were rude, because you became arrogant, and because you disobeyed me. I told you, don't go to the ashram of Raivya, and now look what has happened. Now you have died. Alas, alas. Now I have lost my son, who is the most precious thing to me in the whole world. Then I will give up my own life also. But before I die, then I am giving this curse, that Raivya Muni himself will be killed by his own son. And then, after giving that curse, the Bhardwaj Rishi, he began to say, blessed are those persons who have never had children. Because those persons who have no children, they have a happy life. Because they don't ever have to experience the grief of losing one's child. Who in this world can be more wicked from those who could curse their dearest friend? And in this way he also gave a curse to himself. Alas, this Raivya Muni was my close friend. We had so many wonderful times together, bathing in the Ganga, remembering our Gayatri mantras, studying the Vedas, performing yagyas together. And now look what I've done. Due to attachment to my son, I have cursed my dearest friend. Oh, this is a great misfortune. So then Bhardwaj Rishi, he took the wood and he made a funeral pyre for his son, and he cremated Yavakri, and then he himself entered into the blazing fire. And that was the end of Bhardwaj Rishi and his son Yavakri, who tried to attain the Vedic knowledge by the tapasya, by his own strength, independently, without depending on the mercy of Sadguru, and without subjecting to hearing and serving for a long time. But in the meantime, now what will happen? Because the words of a Brahmana, they have to become true. So there must now be the death of Raivya Rishi at the hands of his own eldest son. So what happened was, there was a great king, and his name was Brihadyumna, and he had employed Aryavasu and Paravasu as his Ritviks to perform a great sacrifice. So the two of them, they were performing the sacrifice, and Raivya Rishi was staying behind in the ashram, and Paravasu's wife was also staying behind with him. So gradually the yagya was going on. It was taking a very long time, and Paravasu decided he wanted to go and see his wife. So he got up from the yagya, and he returned by himself. He was going to the ashram. But on the way, it was a very dark night, and his father Raivya Rishi was dressed in a deerskin, and in the distance he thought that it was a wild animal. And so Paravasu, mistaking his father for a wild animal and being fearful for his life, he killed that animal with a weapon. But then afterwards he looked and saw, what have I done? It was actually my father. So in this way, the curse of Bhardwaj Rishi became true. So now Paravasu was trying to think, by accident I killed my father, and this is the killing of a Brahman. So this is a great and terrible sin. So he went back to the yagya, and he told his younger brother, Aryavasu, he said, look, I've done the funeral rites for my father, but if I go now and perform the austerities which are necessary to become free from the sin of killing a Brahmana, you, being my younger brother, you will not be able to complete the sacrifice. You don't have the expertise to complete the sacrifice without me. Whereas myself, being more expert, I can complete the sacrifice all by myself without your help. So I think it's better that I should complete the sacrifice and you should go and perform the yajna and perform the austerities which are necessary to get free from the sin of killing a Brahmin on my behalf. And so then the two brothers, they agreed, and so Paravasu, he stayed behind and he was doing the yajna for the king, Brihadyumna, and Aryavasu, he went and then he did the austerities and the necessary prayaschitta, atonement, to atone on behalf of his brother for the killing of a Brahmin. So then, when Aryavasu had completed his prayaschitta, his atonement, he came back to the sacrifice. But when he was arriving, his brother had become somewhat envious towards him. And he said to the king, "Oh, look at this person. He left the sacrifice because he was doing the austerities to become free from the sin of killing a Brahmin. He has killed a Brahmin. And such a person is so inauspicious that even if you glance at such a person, then it will make so much harm in your life." So then when the king heard this, then his servants came and they drove Aryavasu out from the sacrifice. So now, and they were abusing him also and calling him, "You are a killer of a Brahmin, get out of here, get out of here." And he was saying, I didn't kill a Brahmin. I wasn't doing this austerities, this prayaschitta, this atonement for my own sake. I was doing it for my brother. But they didn't listen to him and they threw him out. So then Aryavasu, even though he was innocent, he went into the forest and he retired in silence there. And he was performing austerities and thinking, "Oh, what happened to my life? Now I've been rejected from the sacrifice, and my father has left this world, my brother has turned against me." So then he decided that he would do austerities to worship the sun god by the Brahma Gayatri mantra. So then for a long time he was performing hard austerities and worshipping Surya Dev. But gradually he attained the mantra siddhi. And when he attained the mantra siddhi, then the presiding deity of the mantra appeared before him. This is very important. Sri Guru gives us the Gopal mantra and Kam Gayatri. It's most important to remember this mantras 3 times daily with the greatest honor. And then gradually, the 24.5 syllables of Kam Gayatri, which are like 24.5 moons, they should gradually wax, just as the moon becomes bigger and bigger and then is fully shining. Each syllable of the Kam Gayatri should gradually wax within our hearts and reveal to us the beautiful service of the divine couple Radha and Krishna. So here in this example, Aryavasu is remembering the Gayatri mantra and worshipping by that mantra the sun god, and he had darshan of Surya Dev, and not only Surya Dev but many other celestial beings, devatas, were surrounding him. And then they came and they told the devatas came and they told the king, actually he is the innocent person. It was his brother who killed his father. So then the king, he drove out Paravasu, the elder brother, from the sacrifice, and Aryavasu was established as the performer of the yajna. So then all the various demigods, they were so pleased with Aryavasu that they said to him, "We want to give you some boons, we want to give you some benedictions. So please ask for us whatever you like." So then Aryavasu, he was very, very humble and a good person. So he said, "Please give the benediction to my brother that he will become completely free from any sin or any malice. Please give me the benediction that also my father can be restored to life. And also, please give him the benediction that he will not remember that he was actually killed by my brother, so the whole family can be together peacefully. And also, most wonderfully, we see that Arya Vasu, he has no spirit of revenge. This is very important. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, Trinada pi suni chena, turori vasishtuna, amanina manadena kirtanya asadahari. Be more humble than a blade of grass. If someone will step on a blade of grass, when they remove their foot, the grass will stand up again. So it has some little bit of tinge of arrogance or little tinge of a spirit of revenge. So to be more humble than a blade of grass is to have no spirit of revenge at all. Prabhupada Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur, he used to say, when will my heart be filled with no other feeling than the greatest wishes for the worst of my enemies? So Arya Vasu, he was like that. And he asked a benediction from the Devatas. Please bring back to life Bharadwaj Maharshi, my father's best friend, and also Yavakri, and because Yavakri actually, his arrogance and misbehavior had caused all this trouble in the first place. So then, and also, I want this benediction that this Gayatri mantra by which I have worshipped Surya Dev will become famous throughout the whole world. So then, Surya Dev, he said, Tatastu, so be it. And all the demigods, they blessed him, and everyone came back to life again. So then, Yavakri, who had been the cause of all this problem and disaster, when he came back to life, he was astonished. And he saw Agnidev, the demigod of fire, and Suryadev and other devatas before him. And a question came into his mind. He said, O Agnidev, O devatas, O celestial beings, I have a question. Please answer this question for me. I had attained knowledge of all the various parts of the Vedas, and I had practiced such intense austerities. But when I got into a conflict with Raivya Maharshi, how was he successful in killing me so easily? How was that possible? I even knew more than him, but still he easily defeated me. So when he asked this question, then the devatas spoke their voices in union. They said to him, O Yavakri, never act again in the way that you have done. The reason why he was more powerful than you is because you have learned the Vedas without the exertion, without the self-sacrifice of accepting a Sadguru, an eternal, transcendental, qualified spiritual teacher. But this man, Raivya Maharshi, he went through the various troubles, the difficulties involved, and adopting the conduct in such a way that he pleased the heart of his spiritual master. And because he, with great exertion and for a long time, he served and pleased his spiritual master, then he had actual realization of the Vedas, and he was far superior to you, who had only some knowledge and austerity, but remained arrogant and independent. So in this way, Srila Vyasadeva himself has given this very beautiful history to teach us how we can attain the divine realization through very sincere service at the lotus feet of Guru, sacrificing our own plans and schemes and ambitions, sacrificing our own comfort and happiness just to please the heart of the spiritual master. One thing is that we see that in the ancient times, the disciples, they were serving their spiritual masters, and by their blessing, They could realize Brahman, or they may realize Paramatma, or they may realize Lord Narayan. On very rare occasions, someone may realize Vasudeva Krishna. But to realize Shama Sundar in Vrindavan was very, very rare. So if disciples like Upamanyu, disciples like Udalak, Aruni, like Satyakama, like Nachiketa, and other great disciples who are being glorified throughout the Vedas, can serve their gurus to just to realize Brahman or Paramatma or Bhagavan, then how much more we should be ready to serve and sacrifice our spiritual masters in this line, this Sri Rupanuga Gaudiya Guru Varga, this line of Srila Rupa Goswami, when they are bestowing the realization of the eternal service of Rasika Shekhar Shri Krishna, the Akhila Rasamrita Murti, the embodiment of all the mellows of transcendental love, in the company of Vrishabhanu Nandini, Mahabhav Swarup, the embodiment of the highest love, in her group, also in the Gan of Lalita Sakhi, Radharani's dearest, nearest friend, and within that group of Lalita Sakhi, to very intimately render the menial bodily services directly to Radha and Krishna under the guidance of Sri Rupa Manjari. It is unprecedented, the gifts of realization that our acharyas are bestowing upon us. So how much more we should be ready to sacrifice and serve them and really perform Vyasa Puja by trying to surrender fully and pray, "O Gurudev, may the treasure of your heart, Radha Dasyam, may that manifest in my heart by your causeless mercy, and may I become maddened in chanting the holy name and perform your Vyasa Puja, your worship, by spreading the nectar of the teachings of Rupa Goswami throughout the whole world." Patit Pavana Paramadayal Premadata Padmavati Kumar Sri Nityananda Prabhu Ki Jai. Prema Purushottama Sachinandan Shri Gauranga Mahaprabhu Ki Jai. Bole Brindavan Bihari Lala Ki Jai. Varasaniwali Ki Jai. Vrishabhanu Raj Kumari Ju Ki Jai. Jai Jai Sri Radhe.